Hi, welcome. My name is Dale McCluskey, and on this video, I'd like to discuss, again, talking about the issue of tools, how they're used within the system, the issue of using a remote collar. Now, remote collars have gotten a lot of attention lately, okay, through with these device bans that are happening, both in the United Kingdom and North America. Because here's the thing, it's about understanding, getting the process right first. So when you start to understand what's happening here in terms of, why these tools are being banned, it's because of the majority of those who are in agreement with approaching training as a learning-based exercise. So the individuals who are able to gain momentum with actually getting these tools banned are the ones that people will define them certain ways, as they call them force-free, pure positive, but they're basically a group who are approach training as a full-blown learning-based exercise, who would argue that influence, using certain tools isn't necessary, based on getting a dog to make a different choice. Okay, so this inherently flawed assumption that response by way of how they apply learning represents a like-minded state or a neutral state. I talk about that in terms of dogs' ability to hold control, and how it is these trainers are looking at a process in a very superficial way, which leaves the door completely wide open for many dogs to continue to hold control through the process. Now, the issue about, again, understanding the proper use of a tool, it comes down to, number one, is getting the process right. And again, the system of training advocates the process in terms of at an interaction-based level, specific interaction. So you can, again, carry this over to my example of parenting, advocating, investing in and interacting with the child in very specific ways that changes how the child perceives the parent. Okay, you talk about parental influence. So the word influence, it's the same thing in terms of meaningful influence taking hold in a relationship. Now, in terms of dogs as social animals, with how their decision-making process is governed at that level, it's the same thing. So, so understanding, number one, is you have to get the process right. Okay, number one, you have to get the process right. If you don't get the process right, then this is why you're seeing, questions about, tools and their role, and this tremendous disconnect between what's happening in the dog training world. But once you get the process right, then all the tools, all the dominoes fall the way that they should. Now, in terms of a remote collar through this system, how it's used as a secondary tool in a very specific way. Okay, so tools in this system, it's about how they align. They're an extension of the process, extension of the person. And so it's about it making sense to the dog coming into agreement with, the process, and the tools will connect that way also, including the crate. So in terms of the specifics of using a remote collar, how this is used on vibration setting is for dogs in the crate that are holding control and are expressing a higher level of control inside the crate through excessive barking, stress on the dog. So it's all understanding about how to use the tool to begin to interrupt that state. Okay, interrupt the state in a way that is going to bring the dog into a relaxed and balanced state of mind, get them to release control. Okay, it's all about control, how control manifests. But again, understanding about how the dog's is more accepting, it makes more sense of a tool like a remote collar. It's based on what the process and what the methodology represents. Okay, the dog reconciling the process at a level that connects through tools, and the dog says, you know what, this makes complete sense. The dog becomes very accepting, and so the dog's more receptive and more sensitive to certain tools. And so, because here's the thing, if you don't adopt a certain process, a dog is able to hold more control, okay, and then you start to use a certain tool, and then you'll see a lot of trainers using this at, say, a shock setting as their kind of go-to, and they're trying to, and it becomes very confusing to the dog, because the dog's saying, hold on here a second, this isn't lining up, okay? And this is where you get stress loads on the dog. I've seen it happen in the past, not with what I was doing, but people coming to me where the trainers use a remote collar in a way that has stressed the dog out. The dog's become very stressed and just, it's very problematic. And so you have to reverse that, okay? Get away from these tools, and it's the process, the method that's going to cause the dog to truly release control, start to anxiety and control, and come into a state of balance. So again, it's understanding about how the tools are used. It's understanding them as they're just a means to an end. They're not a end unto themselves, so they don't, this issue of device awareness or a dog. I mentioned this before in other videos about why I don't use certain tools. You might get a better physical position, but a dog can still hold control in the relationship. So it's understanding the role of tools, but again, I want to emphasize it starts with getting the process right. Everything follows the correct process and reconciles that way, and then makes sense to the dog. The dog comes into agreement with, and even using certain tools take on different meaning at the same time, which makes more sense to the dog. So thanks for watching.